Ziggity zig talking his way at a silver game number 20 something. And just have a look at this. Have a look at the EPM, and I finally get my EPM going at around 10 seconds. This is a game between myself and Clairvoyancy. I think it's a PV. Oh, it's a PVT. Cool. I thought it was a PvP. I don't know that I know why. Now, I actually tried to cast this game already, but something happened to the recording, and which makes me always double and triple check, because even Griff made fun of me for that. Sorry. But this is a game between myself, and this Clairvoyancy turned out to be a gold player after this game took place. Wasn't a random goldie. I think that's what happened the first. Oh no, that was just a random player. But this was just a gold player who I think was top 25 or something gold, as you can sort of tell by the EPM being up there in the 50s, which is pretty impressive, even though there's actually nothing going on at the moment. So why are you spamming your EPM? I'm gonna leave both views on for now, just to let you see what's going on. I have my standard opening, it's Terran, so I try to decide to keep my everything back close to me, because I know Terran aren't going to do something weird like put barracks in here or start building bunkers or anything like that. They don't really do that kind of... In fact, I've come across a lot less cheese in silver than I have in bronze, and I've probably mentioned this a fair number of times. Now, here's an interesting thing. I didn't think anything of that. Either that or I just didn't notice it. So I came in here for a quick peek. What do I see? Basically nothing. A few people come after me. There's no gas. There's no barracks. But there's this. So the thing there is that Clairvoyancy is obviously waiting for... There we go. It's a fast expand. So an expansion right away. At which point, I'm immediately going to start falling behind in terms of resources. But at least I have my first gateway on the way. So as far as units and supply go, I'm slightly ahead with worker supply, but I'm not sure if I bother with 2 chronos or not. Now I'm at 16 supply, so I should be getting my second pylon down now, but apparently I decided not to do that, which means I'm going to be supply blocked in just a moment. Or also, yeah, there we go. I got my probe stuck just in here when I came to check the second Zelnaga tower, and then I was totally cornered. Clairvoyancy didn't even notice, so neither of us noticed what was going on, really. I sort of saw that I was under attack, and I said, oh, screw this, I gotta get rid of it. Meanwhile, there's the supply block there, but I'm still trying to get in some probes, just to keep on top of things, not sending this one back, but getting the cyber core. First barracks is finally arriving, and he's walling off. So I did get to see, but how much did I get to see? Not a whole heck of a lot. So as far as our scouts go, Clairvoyancy was able to scout, well, the basics. The basics that I hadn't done a fast expand, and I wasn't forging. I mean, I don't know. I really probably be a good map for cannon rushing. If I could have got something over there or up here, that would be cool. But I guess not. Second barracks and third barracks. So it's out of 3 racks now at the moment. I'm getting my 3 gateways. Kind of early, actually, but probably just because I've screwed up so many other things. I'm ahead in supply. I'm ahead in army supply. Oh, try not to yawn. Gotta have some water. Don't even remember what I was talking about there. I think we were still just discussing physics. So I try to keep something up at the top of my ramp. Meanwhile, I still am not aware of that fast expand, which is kind of annoying that I didn't see that. I'd like to have been on top of that. I'll get another unit. What am I getting there is the sentry. So the 2 zealot sentry. And then once we reach 100 minerals, it's a pretty easy gate, or robo bay, possibly, in a moment. I usually go 3 gate robo. Normally what you can also do is, yeah, just there, I could have had the 400 minerals to get me down to my expansion. I should have expanded several times as early as this occurred, but I kept not expanding. I kept doing different things by putting down pylons instead. Where right now I'm actually quite ahead of the game as far as supply goes, so that pylon was a bit ridiculous. And then right now, boom, there's another opportunity right there. But I just got my warp, so I think I warp in units. Yep, a couple couple units up there at the top before this pylon's ready. And then once again, we're back up to 400. Ready to go, but no. A forge. Some sort of weird half wall-off thing, and when I do that, now I find I don't actually have any enough gas for some observers. I probably should have thrown out a warp. No, if I threw out a warp prism, then I never would have got this. Oh, that was just about up to 400 again, so several times in the last few minutes, aside from the fact that I don't actually know what is going on. So maybe it's best that I did not do an expansion quite so early, even though it would have gone well, but I decided to work on units instead. And then I finally get back. The expansion goes up, second observer comes along, this observer gets put... Oh no, I don't switch it over to the hotkey. I could probably... No, I'm not quite ready for gas, or for upgrades just yet on my forge, because I'm still trying to get a few units, but I am definitely doing alright. I'm falling a little behind on the worker supplies. The income level is completely out of whack, as you can tell by... But here is a fair amount of tech going on. But Clairvoyancy is also having a hard time spending, especially minerals, where we're at approximately the exact same level of supply. My army's larger, and Clairvoyancy has a few more workers. So here is a basic, well, it's just bunkered and a bunch of marines. So that's all we got right now. Where's units? So I'm up against 15 marines. I've got Stalker, Zealot, Sentry, Immortal. So I still feel I'm pretty comfortable there, but this is the important thing I see. I see this moving to the right, and I instantly, or almost instantly, I pretty quickly, quick for me, moved down my army, because I saw that he was massing his army up here, probably ready to move out, and I didn't think he was going to move in and have a look at this, but I probably should have moved my observer over just to have a peek and make sure that it was safe to move. I bring down a pylon to reinforce just in case, and then move up my army, kill it. And at the same time, check this out, I move over my observer to have a look at this little row, this little alleyway, to find out if anyone's coming down to defend. But Clairvoyancy, pretty clever there, decides to lift off the command center, not do anything about it, tosses down a scan really quick. The supply is starting to even out the wrong way. I'm going to put it back in production. I don't see any... There's the supply depot on its way down. Me, same thing, realistically. Weapons 1, weapons and armor 1, and an armory on its way. But there goes my robo base. So this is what I decided. You know what? I need to do something with my 3-gate robo. I need to start getting some more things. So then I pop down a few more gates. So that puts me up to, I think, 6-gate. Which I'm a bit slow on the 6-gate, yes, I fully accept that. Slow on the 6-gate, but at the same time I can start pumping out some Colossus, which would be nice. Still trying to stay ahead on army supply, just still trying to do something about this, but meanwhile, Clairvoyancy moved back and did not try to take this particular base one more time. Mostly saturated there, pretty good. Mostly just marauders and marines. Here's my little observer keeping an eye on this forward army once again. Here comes a floating factory for whatever reason, but now I'm getting just a couple of immortals in my small army here. I'm now up to 2 probes for whatever reason. That seems kind of strange. But the army supply is starting to slip the other way just because of Clairvoyancy's income. That income is just ridiculous. I saw a 3rd base moving out, and all I did was get my 2nd base, and I just was not handling my income and my macro the way that I should have been. However, I decided to move out. Now, oh, you know how I was talking about zealots in front? Guess what this isn't? This is not zealots in front. This is just a mob. Yeah, look at all the zealots stuck in the back, and they're about to come down the corridor. This would have gone a lot better. Ready for this engagement? Any force? No. So I'm up against range. So here we go. This is one of the main mistakes I make. I don't have my zealots in front. I take a long time. That would have been some pretty hot force fields had I done 2 things. Faster, split the army, and then move back so that the near range. Could not get to me. Just be a little bit better on that particular front. But what happened there is I realized, okay, that's bad. So I ran, turned tail, and ran. Still no Colossus on the way. Odd. However, I seem to be getting Protoss Ground Armor 1. Still have this little forward pylon down there. I still have my observer watching these groups, but the issue there is this. Let's have a look at lost. Units lost. I lost quite a number there. So here are a very large number of probes, many of which are going to die. So let's have a look at... where's that one? Units killed. Wait. Control R. Alright. Units killed. He's already at 2. Let's see how many he gets here. So I am getting a bit there. Here comes the Colossus. And in they come. This goes poorly. But instead, apparently didn't go and kill probes, he killed pylons. And did damage, quite a bit of damage to production facilities, just made it really hard for me to do anything. 3. So I only lost 1 worker, which is annoying, because he probably could have done a much worse job. Now the other thing there is I don't get around to dealing with... yeah, I'm only getting 1-1, and he's finishing up 2-2. Getting another gateway. Where is that other gateway going? Ah, there it is. So now on double robo, trying to get my production facilities working once more. That could have been much. He probably could have stuck around and hit me up again. I am very saturated on both. I should definitely have my third base up by now. It's 15 minutes in, and I'm just kind of sitting on a small army that I am sort of slowly getting back up to speed with extended thermal lance on the way. I should be doing something about that. Nothing else. So I do have 2 Colossus on the way, which once again is keeping my resources pretty low, not too bad, which I suppose can mostly be a good thing, I hope. Here is a 4th base after taking the 3rd base and the 4th base. So Clairvoyancy definitely has an ability to keep money moving. And if you look at that, the army supply certainly shows it. The worker supply, not so much. So he's pretty heavily split, but at the same time, a lot of mules in there. Look at that. Look at that income. That is twice my income. The minerals are just going out the ear. Meanwhile, up here, I believe I have 7 gateways, 2 robos, a forge. My Twilight Council is just now about to finish at 18 minutes. But here's my army. Now I have 3 Colossus, but the thing that I'm most interested in is after that first round, I did not make any additional sentries, because I saw myself getting quite a lot of minerals over gas, so I kept going with the stalkers because I also wanted to get charge. So there's charge and +2 on the way. 2 Colossus joining up. Where are you set to? So you're set to follow around Mr. Tall Colossus here, as opposed to the short Colossus, because that sometimes happens. No, it doesn't. And there is Clairvoyancy's army, which is almost now evenly matched with mine. Almost. But I think that's only because he's got his army split up into 2. Now these Vikings, these start to play a bit of havoc on myself. So Clairvoyancy moves up here, and I do not quite take care of this army. I don't think I did anything about that. That would have helped. Had I noticed what was going on and just tried to force field that wall once again, yeah. Guess how many force fields I have right now? None! Not a single blessed one. So I don't have any force field or any sentries with that. Now, here's another interesting engagement that I think I did quite well in, because as you see here, I'm outnumbered 130 to 92, but he does have... oh no, now he's brought his armies together. So I try to make some smart decisions here. Charge is almost done. +2 isn't quite done just yet. I'm getting a little bit more supply because he's actually now maxed out. So I bring up the, tempt, picks off one or two. But then, this is when I turn and get him caught. Push charge was done here. I was very Zealot heavy, which was annoying. The Zealot heavy probably would have done quite well with this, because look at the Colossus just melt this line. The problem is I did not focus down these Vikings, because there's too many Vikings right now, 8 Vikings, and I only had about 6 Stalkers. So that was pretty bad. But I think I had the right idea, aside from the fact that I did not have the correct unit composition. So he follows me home, and now I'm making some more Stalkers, which sucks, because that means, well, actually, no, I'm doing okay for gas, so I probably should be making some more sentries right now. The sentries, especially against Terran, I don't think Terran has any melee units. So the Stalkers tried to take out some of the Vikings, and that frightened his army into one more clump, which worked quite well, and then I kept going. Now I finally, oh no, wait, do I finally get a couple of sentries in? Two sentries finally. Don't move around my Zealots too much. There's only 4, so there's no matter. Doesn't make too much of a difference. There's a force field, and then I just try to trap him once again. And he gets caught through there. The choke ruins quite a number of them with my Colossus. I still can't quite get to these Vikings, at least to narrow them down. So this turn's pretty bad. But regardless of all of that, I was pretty pleased with a couple of my engagements. That first engagement, it could have been better. Second engagement also could have been better. I could have had a few more sentries just to flesh out the unit composition. Meantime, this guy just did quite well against me, and it ended up being an EPM. Ooh, I break 30 once more, but his EPM of 63 did do quite well. The income was just ridiculous, because he was on 4 bases. So he just spammed the mules, but I don't know, do mules count towards saturation? I mean, if you have a fully saturated base and you throw down mules, does that affect their productivity? I don't know. You tell me, leave me a comment down below, send me an email, ziggyzig@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at ZiggyStarCraft. It's a new week. I was thinking of switching over and just doing the live cast. I don't know, because I don't really get to play that many games. I do the playthroughs and sort of the analysis, but I wonder if I can kind of combine those into 2 so that each day is a replay and then the analysis afterwards, just a quick peek. Tell me what you think. Maybe with some ideas. I just want to see if I can maybe evolve this a bit more. Also, I just need to get some more playtime, get some more ladder done. See if I can get out of silver, and then we can talk my way out of gold. It'll be a very exciting time. Anyway, that's about it. Stay tuned.